Hey guys, I think we're ready. So thank you guys for coming. Wanted to thank obviously our panel, Tom and James. Tom is on the right, James is on the left. We have London Walden, and then we have Claire Thomas, or Claire Stacia? Okay. She's from, her design company is Center by Design. James's and Tom's is, James and Tom's? James Tom's Interiors. Interiors, beautiful. London Walden. Walder. Interiors. Beautiful. Love the name London Walder. And I also want to thank Joe Schwab from G-Rate, obviously sponsored the event. Passionate about what he does. Obviously, let's use him. He's here to support us as brokers.
And he is the best at what he's doing. Like, he's truly like one of the best.
Checks in the mail. Not in. Yes. I want to thank Quinn Keller right here. Obviously, he's standing up for putting this whole. Obviously, this is part of our luxury community as we're trying to just kind of expand Keller Williams' brand in luxury, and then also educate the brokers within Keller Williams about what is luxury, what are the trends, where is it going, how do we identify it, how do we add value to our clientele base when people are looking and people are talking about luxury items, whether it's travel, whether it's interiors, whether it's homes, lifestyle, things like that. And then again, just thank you guys for this. If you guys don't mind, we'll just start with James on the left. Introduce you guys yourself. Tell us a little bit about your business, your team, how you got started in the industry.
Well,
The whole kiddo involved.
thanks for showing up. Really appreciate you guys being here. My name is James Dolenc. We are happy to be celebrating 20 years of our firm. I have a master's degree in interior design from a now defunct Harrington Institute. But I tell you, we have a nice, robust team of 15, including myself, and we just hired our first director of interior architecture, which we're super psyched about. So we're all in the nation.
Tom Riker, the other half of James Thomas. I have a master's degree in architecture, so I actually worked in architecture for the beginning of my career, and then we joined forces and worked with life partners and business partners.
A lot of together. A lot of together.
Sometimes we don't sit this close to each other.
And our names are interchangeable.
If they're right, about to write a book.
Yeah, right. And yeah, so
yeah. Nice clients, great stuff.
Yeah.
I am London Walder of London Walder Interior Design. I have had my own design firm for just over 6 years. After graduating design school, I worked on the business side and like process management side of the industry, which was a great combination with my degree in interior design to eventually start my own firm. We have a team currently of 5, soon to be 6, with 2 additional part-time people, hopefully full-time soon. So growing quickly. We do new construction, renovations, full furnishings projects, kind of a combination of everything. And we work mostly in the city, North Shore, few projects in the western suburbs, and then we have vacation homes for clients who are in the city and then have additional homes.
Claire?
Hi everybody, I'm Claire Staszak. Thanks for being here. Our office is actually just down the street, so if you see Centered by Design, feel free to pop in and say hi. My background's a little less traditional. I studied marketing and events. I used to work for the outerwear company REI, did a lot of their marketing. And then really like jumped into that REI lifestyle, went to New Zealand for a year, and when I was there, it's the first time in my life I ever had a significant amount of downtime, and I realized that I was actually really creative and that visualization is a talent and that not everybody's mind works like that. And so I came back, went to design school out in Palatine at Harper College, and then at the same time started a blog, and that's when Instagram was kind of getting big, and I've really been able to build my business via Instagram, the blog, and sort of slowly develop my clientele. So right now we focus on high-end kitchen design and also historic renovation. So we really love older homes and are working our way to try to be more known for that kind of work, where we go in and really like to tell the story and work with architecture and historic details. We're a team of 5 plus 2 part-time people, and also mostly work in the same areas that London referred to, but starting to take projects out of state as good clients have moved and we've sort of come.
If you could describe your design style in a couple words, how would you
Yeah, so we're, I would say we are timeless, soulful, and eclectic.
Gosh,
describe it? No.
I would say we are, like a lot of our design is very layered, livable. We work with a lot of young families with children and dogs. It needs to be livable and look good the day that we leave and the final design is complete in years to come. And then probably thoughtful. Is that a good one? Like we have a very specific process. And we really think through every detail. We don't like make quick decisions or like do a walkthrough and say like do this here, this there. Like we take our time. We really analyze all the information, the pros and cons, and we thoughtfully make decisions based on that.
Oh, okay. So our team, who we're extremely grateful for, and myself, we spent a lot of time with Claire and a pretty heavy and I should say extensive programming based at the front. And our goal with our clients is always to develop personal spaces that truly reflect on us. Our names on the board, but it's not our home. So they're highly personal. They're inspirational interiors, for sure. And above all, they're joy and welcoming.
It's like they're, if you look across our board, everything's pretty tailored and pretty layered.
Design should be fun. It should be joyous. It should be inspirational. Nice to see one of our clients today. And Steve, and who was just near and dear to our hearts. And, it should be a fun process.
Don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, who is an ideal client for you? So for our, agents here.
We always say someone that makes time for us is a big deal.
Trust.
Yeah. I mean,
Trust. Trust is huge. If the client doesn't trust us, then
we kind of laugh at it. These are the things we need to make time for us. You need to make decisions, right? Please. And then you just need to pay your bills. We'll do the rest. We'll do the rest.
My ideal client, along all of those things, definitely. I think someone who is not afraid to use like natural materials and take some risks with the juxtaposition of different materials and time periods being mixed together. And then, of course, someone who's like kind and open to the process and wants to work together to design a home that's tailored for them, of course, but also open to new possibilities. We don't do well when clients have like a list of Pinterest that they love and that's the look they want. We want them to be open, and a lot of times what you initially think your design style is as a client can adapt and change as you work through the design process. So just being open to that.
Yeah, I mean, just all the dream things right there. I think we also, as I sort of mentioned, we love working on older properties. So we tend like an ideal client for us is someone who's buying an older home and wants to renovate or do a big addition or gut a 2-level flat and make it a single family home. We have a lot of expertise there, and we do work really well with young families. I have 2 young children, and the contractor who I work with very closely is also sort of in that life phase, and it feels like people in that stage really feel like they're in the same kind of type of life, and we get along really well, and just it feels often very easy.
Do you have a favorite project that you've worked on? And if so, why?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you love so many of them, but currently, we are doing a really large renovation on Cleveland. That's a beautiful, like older, I think, like 1890s or early 1900s. It's got like incredible skylights, beautiful plaster moldings, like the staircase that you don't want to touch. Oh, thank you. And it's also a second time client, so it's really wonderful when you're working on somebody's new home and you've already worked with them. They trust you, they love your ideas, they're like your fan, and so it just you can push them a little further, and it's really that's been a fun one. It just started, so tune in to Instagram, you'll see lots of good stuff.
London, you got a favorite project, either new or in the past that you?
I love all of our projects. I'm actually, we talked about this earlier, love-hate relationship with, I bought a 2-flat and I'm renovating the building. It was built in 1908. It's basically completed being gutted, but we're trying to like reference some of the original historic details that existed at that time period and bringing it back into the space. So it's been really hard to design for myself at this capacity, but it is a storefront first floor, which will be our new office space, and then the second floor will be where I live with my husband and my 1-year-old baby girl. So it's fun. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I've just redesigned it over and over. So
Passion project.
Yeah.
Tom?
We're so blessed that we've had a lot of repeat clients. So house 6 for them.
Great client.
Yeah. But I think probably in the last couple of years, we did a project in COVID. During COVID, we moved to our cottage in Michigan, and we did a project that was started construction in March of 20, so it was like right in the beginning of COVID. And because we lived there, I got to know it every day with my dog, my shorts, and it got a lot of attention. We just photographed it, so we didn't see it published soon, but that was a super fun project. Really kind of special place.
We had a crazy cool compound in India for Chicago family. It's the world's largest, or I should say the nation's largest artificial turf 3-hole golf course. So it's a 3-hole golf course, it's all artificial turf. With all the landscaping around it is natural, but the turf itself is artificial. And the client's designing 8,000 square foot maintenance barn, 10,000 square foot clubhouse, a field house for the family. It's insane. We're doing like
Just for private.
Yeah. How many acres?
45.
Oh, so good.
I mean, we're doing like we provide like a custom logo for the family, the crest, and like we're doing monograms, like rock classes, and it's a once in a lifetime project. So that doesn't come around. That's like a bread and butter. It's definitely not. So it's a fun project.
One is overwhelmed, like just gigantic. One is awesome because it's low key.
Yeah.
Personal. Awesome. Obviously, we have a group full of realtors, and obviously, part of our job is we need to be resources for our clients in every aspect of their lives. Constantly, I don't know how many times I have a conversation. Do you have any needs? Right, and that's a good realtor will always ask their clients what their needs are because we want to be first in line when thinking about anything. Right. If you were to give us advice today, what are some styling tips you give sellers? Right, so focus on sellers for a second. Like what generally when you walk into a place.
Yeah, only because we actually took a poll in our studio today, and across the board, I don't know how you guys feel, but we are so used to walking into homes that are void of personality, and they're all just white and neutral and sterile. And I don't know about you, but when I walk into someone's home, I want to see like someone lives there. You know, I know the rule of thumb.
Yeah,
with
paint
brokers
everything
is
white.
like everything white and strip the house of any personality, but it's a home. You know, I want to buy a home. If I'm buying a new construction condo, that's one thing. But if I'm buying a home, I want to like see, you know, who's lived there. I don't. Obviously, if there's a room that's painted purple, okay, well then let's paint it. But you know, quickly, you know, invest in some good photos. Edit your accessories. Make sure that the accessories has a scale to it. Shit everywhere. And then I say like hit the window curtains up unless they're balloon shades from the 80s. You know, like don't redo the kitchen because most likely someone coming in there is going to do their own thing anyway.
And maybe you don't need to paint every single thing because most of our clients who buy places paint. It's not that. Unless yeah, we did do one once house and every single room was a different color, so that was a problem. That the seller of the house design becomes so ubiquitous. You know,
The Studio McGee and that whole look, it's like boring. And
Restoration Hardware.
Restoration Hardware, you know, it's just. I mean, what do you guys feel like? I feel like buying a house, I want to see some personality.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that too, and I feel like a lot of times the furniture placement is like against walls or like so far apart that no one would actually live that way, and I think furniture with like rugs and like even along the lines of staging, I feel like having the home look like you could actually use it and live there versus like it just looks really big, which is not always the goal. It's not just to like look big but not functional. You want it to look like a home that you see yourself living in. So I think, you know, along those same lines, of course, like with the selections you're making, not having a generic, like mass-produced looking sterile home, like layering in some interest as well as like furniture layouts that are how you would actually live. You can see the type of furniture that fits versus like there's a sofa against one wall and like chairs against the other and there's like 10 feet in between. Yeah.
We've recently walked through a unit with a friend of ours and she was looking at this G-Plus co-op and it was chock full of everything. I mean, this place was overflowing with stuff. They hadn't stripped anything. To the point where then you kind of learn, like, this is so charming. You've ever seen bookcases with like all these books and pictures hanging in front of it? Like they left everything. And it worked. Like it was so charming that you don't see stuff like that.
My first comment was like, I'm worried to buy this place because I don't have all these books.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that once all this character is stripped out, it's going to not, you know, it's going to be buy it for the character. She won't buy the furniture there. She won't buy the books.
Granted, it was her aesthetic,
Yeah.
so that worked for her, but I don't think you'd be looking at the vintage co-op if you weren't kind of going for that. It's like a loft of vintage co-op. So it kept all of the character, which was
I have a question for everyone, if you don't mind, if you just like have a show of hands. Do you all feel or have had the experience that a home that you're selling that's been designed by an interior designer sells way faster, or is that not the case? Yes. Okay. Because I do feel like, you know, what.
Yeah.
What do you say?
depends on the interior.
Yeah. So, I mean, my advice is like, you know, all of those homes, obviously, you know, like, take the notes from those because I feel like a lot of what I hear from our clients is, you know, like, oh, we're so happy this house sold so quick and, you know, thank you for the beautiful work that you did. And that's because we're all so thoughtful about what it looks like. And, you know, some clients that come to me, like, we are thinking it out when we feel. Some are not. And, you know, there's everything in between, but I would say lighting is a huge thing that you can easily swap out and always makes a really big impact. Scale is a big thing, and you can really kind of play with that and make a difference. One thing just to like keep plugging because this is part of why we're here is I have a lot of friends that are realtors, and we've developed like PDFs with lists of our top paint colors, like all this advice on how to renovate your kitchen. Those are all available for download on our website, or some of them are free and some of them are like really affordable. And we really want to help be a resource. It's the same thing we do. We try to educate people on Instagram because interior design shouldn't be scary. It shouldn't be something that is only for the luxury market. I think it's for all markets. And so hopefully, you can find some tips that you'll be able to give to your clients.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Is there one thing also too that? Please.
I have a question for y'all, just to put that back to you. When you have a client who has making some design choices or some renovation choices that you're like, this is an expensive project, or some kind of really about face, maybe you should consult your realtor to say, hey, is this good for resale?
All the time. All the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially if they're wavering, I don't know if I should do this or not. How long are you gonna live here?
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna live here forever. Well, then here, do it. It makes you happy. I'm gonna live here for 5 years. I'm not sure I should redo all these bathrooms. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we. The bathrooms are okay.
Right. And you can just like hang some wall coverings and put that flag.
So,
Great
what do
question.
you think makes the best first impression?
Interiors?
Yeah, or like when you walk into a home. Selling a single family house is one thing. I think front door, landscaping. Say, front door, foyer. I was in a house this morning in Evanston. I walked in, it was gorgeous. And the herringbone floor, it was like, wow.
So resale or
Probably for resale.
resale?
We're dealing mostly not with new construction per se, because that's a totally different conversation, but we're just helping our clients get a value. We're helping kind of,
Yeah.
without, first impression. I mean, most people walk into a condo and you can co-op, you have a big foyer, right? Most of these 6 flats, 3 flats, you walk in and you walk right in your kitchen. Right?
I think this is always good.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah, decluttering, obviously,
Doing specific things like really nice hardwood floors, moldings, things that built into the art.
Good, so I would say to clients, to the community, is invest in good things like, making sure your floors are great, good moldings are all obviously moldings and like crap.
Nice door.
Or I think doors is more hardware.
Hardware, sure, things working correctly.
It was nice quality.
Yeah, sure. Because furniture, obviously, you can swap out.
Like when we went to a new construction home, like hollow floor doors. Oh, they don't have that anymore. Really?
There are people. Apparently not.
Sometimes the verge.
I think first impression is kind of hard to answer because there's so much about the house that you take in, especially as a designer. But I mean, if your front foyer, obviously, it should be like a little toolbox, just like a powder room or just like a study. You make that impactful. Not that first.
I think if it's not too costly to update the flooring and there is like a moment that the flooring can shine, we're often swapping out tile, and that's not really a costly thing to do with, and you could have like a great first impression with, a beautiful marble or something that feels luxury that maybe actually, doesn't cost a ton.
That's actually a really, really good point. Like, because we're always looking as interior designers, okay, what do we have to change with clients, and what is just okay? Or wood floors are always, and so we do wood floors. To completely up and out, making sure the wood floors are intact molds. I think they're really important.
I mean, almost everyone, I feel like, before they move in, they sand down the floors and restain them. So, like, if you consulted with a designer and just did that for your client in the right color for the space, I think that would probably do something huge because everybody moves in. It's like, I need to redo these floors, and paint before I move in, which we're always like, wait till we design everything. But, no one wants to look through that.
And decorative lighting, there's nothing worse than when your house has really Home Depot light fixtures around.
Yeah,
just upgrade those a little bit.
and sure all your bulbs are right. Stop that. you know, that you've got like a 4,000 Kelvin here and 300 Kelvin here,
They're
and
different
just making
colors.
sure that everything is even.
Yeah, we do often like in lower levels, we put a natural light bulb. They're on a different
Yeah.
floor. So would you say that's okay? As long as it's on a different floor, you can change the light bulb out? We do that a lot. Some of our listings is, oh, it's too dark down here, or the space is too small, so how do we try to figure out ways to make it bright and light?
Cool. You guys talk about lighting a lot? Yes. Okay.
I guess kind of going on to the two things that you guys touched on. Floors these days, like what is hot and what is not. I've been waiting this whole time to say it.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm putting in like white plank, white oak, natural stain in my house now. I'm building just because that's something I love.
Yeah.
I used to my house I currently live in. I have ebony and Jacobean mixed, right? Very dark, rich.
Wow, you went really off. You went
Totally
full
opposite.
opposite.
Well, one's very vintage and one's more modern.
Very rarely are we doing super dark floors. Everyone knows it. Sure, for sure that look and moving away
I used to call it like, and clients would come in and say, "I like the color gray." Gray is like not a color. Gray's a neutral.
Yes.
But I would say that with floors, whatever looked good 30 years ago, you know, walnut, oak, pine, classic wood floors are good 2 years ago. It's the stains that get trendy. And that
I also do think too, the very, very light look that is been so punctuated lately is, it's also like the California look or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done plenty of it in Chicago, but I think thinking about what makes sense for the neighborhood, for
contextually.
Are there some like tips that you could give us for making places brighter and lighter? Right, I think the realtor standard is white or light gray and increase the wattage in the bulbs. You know?
I mean,
Is that
color can be bright too.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Scale is like you're talking about scale. Go ahead.
I think people, no. I just think that's something hard to like interpret if you don't really know what that means. But like right now in this room, there's like really nothing of scale in terms of like, there's no lighting coming down that would like take up space. Everything is like really linear and it's very clean, but kind of it's beautiful, but nothing's like catching your eye. And so being able to like have somebody walk in and there's a light that's maybe bigger than you normally think it would be, and that sort of like becomes interesting. So it's playing with the size of things, like when James said you need like not all these tiny dinky accessories. It's like something so much bigger than you'd ever think on the island, like a huge vase full of flowers and branches. It's just gonna make a statement, and that's gonna catch somebody's.
And I think layered light too. Like it may feel bright and light, but sterile if all the ceiling lights are on and there's no other layers of light, the walls are white. I think having like layered lower light in addition to like ceiling lights and natural light and that feels, that just feels a little bit more like at home versus just like big and bright and sterile.
We talk about 5 points of light in our studio, which are good interiors. Having, your pin spots not lighting the floor, but lighting things like tables and chairs. So a pin spot, sconces, pendant, floor table lights. That's 5 points. And you want to just look at the diversity in those fixtures. It's crucial. No one wants to walk into a home with a bunch of overheads jacked to Jesus. Like, no one wants that.
We're actually trying to work to design things with almost zero resistance.
Yeah.
And we think that occasionally there are places where you have to do it, in bathrooms or in spot over your kitchen sink, but really, really resistant.
When you say pin spot, right? You're not talking about like a orange can.
No, the
Talking like
LEDs
literally
right now, like we did a house on Gerda that literally, I'm not joking.
I thought it was a joke. It can't be right. It looked
Like a pinprick. And it was
the lights.
all of that. And it was beautiful.
be careful. We did a project with them too, and it can be a little bit hard to get them. The code is a little tricky on them. I feel like right now, so we had a lot of trouble getting that project like through permitting because what happens is they're so beautiful, and I hope that things are working better with code. But there's no way to like quickly access. So we had some issues with the inspector saying that like there's no way to get to it without cutting into the drywall. And so
new construction, but a rehab or
yeah, it can
might be able to
be
get
a
away
little
with
bit tricky, but definitely we're working away from recessed lights too. So I would just caution clients if they're like, hey, do we want to update this? And just like, yeah, throw recessed lighting in here.
I'd be curious to know what you guys are doing for Rider interiors with your clients. Like, what are things that you're doing? Anyone?
Calling you.
Yeah. You're calling me, you're calling us. Okay.
Just we just put a laser place on the 600 block development, East Lincoln Park. They had no J boxes, so no overhead lighting, really lamps everywhere. So I didn't necessarily. The only way I figured out was we had a stager.
Yeah.
We painted the entire place white, trim, like literally shit really light. The entire place, beautiful white oak floors and like and exposed brick everywhere. And then I just kind of up light, down lighting everywhere, lamps. Yeah, well, the stager did that. Only I didn't know what else to do.
No, that's good. I think that's lighting is key.
You walked in, it was kind of stark white, but it was layered with a lot of furniture and robes and artwork.
Like someone lived there.
Yeah, like someone lived there. Sold it. What else you guys do out there to lighten up places, maybe declutter, to a lot of seats when you first come. A lot of times, a lot of these condos, you walk in, there's a fireplace in the living room. The living room is small, dining room, and kitchen. A lot of times, big couches. You might have to eliminate one couch and just put one chair or two small chairs. What do you guys generally see out there? They want to know.
I just was curious what you guys talk about in the industry.
Well, lighter, you do lighter furniture. Swapping out that brown sofa for linen sofa. Saying they got huge, putting it on the floor. Colors.
Not using gray, what color are you recommending?
For walls, any color, pale blue, pale green.
OC right?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, pale blue, pale green. You know,
Even big,
yeah, you guys like no one wants to walk. It's not, especially in the dead of winter.
Are you seeing the warmer colors come back, the beiges and
Not like the Pottery Barn beige. We got a lot of these, but no, warmer colors for sure. Color in general. Yeah. I mean, if you paint a room a eyeglass blue, great. Red.
color. I think we're seeing in our firm last 5 years way more crazy. Probably used to be all gray all the time. People would just not take any risk. And that's totally interiors are much
The whole room and not just an accent wall.
Oh
The whole
yeah.
room, never an accent. And the accent walls are
Yeah. Same thing with wallpaper. No, not just one wall.
Yeah.
All four. But one thing with paint colors, I do think if you don't want to do gray, a lot of people are doing a more taupey version of gray, which at least feels warmer, and I think to the average consumer feels like they're not walking into the typical gray.
Yeah.
So like
Balboa
Mist is a good one.
River Pewter.
Pale oak, sea pearl.
Yeah.
We do a lot of taupe kitchens because everybody's like thinks that that's not a white kitchen, so they want a taupe kitchen. But I would say taupe and blue are really favorable among Chicagoans right now.
What do you guys think? Like luxury design, part of design, what embodies luxury? Because everyone has their own opinion.
I would say like luxury to me is like the quality of the materials used and the quality of the installation. So I think a big thing for me is you can have a really expensive, beautiful tile, and if it's installed poorly, it looks cheap. Or if you have an inexpensive tile and maybe you do an interesting installation pattern and it's installed to perfection, it can look even more elevated. So I think the quality of the installation, the mix of materials, we love and use a lot of like natural material, which I think is more of a luxury look than everything that's like so easy to maintain but looks like cold and sterile and generic and fake to me. But I think the luxury market is a mix of like marbles and wood tones and colors and like beautiful layers of light and an impeccable installation all feel so much more elevated and luxury than poor quality or installation of like a mass produced material or like even aesthetically like the same look you've seen a million times. If you start to see it on repeat, don't do that. Try something new.
I think architecture as well. So like if you are able to have the client invest in good moldings that are the right scale and the right size, and I think probably sounds annoying to keep using this word scale, but I really feel like that's so much of what a designer's eye does is to help balance scale. And so when you go into a house and you see like a tiny 2-inch crown molding, in a 9-foot ceiling room, that's just not the right scale. And if you just upgraded that to a 5 or a 6-inch, it would feel much more expensive. And so I think helping to have those correct architectural details and just educating yourself a little bit more about different time periods. I mean, I try to do this myself because I am not an expert, in architecture. And so if this was a Dutch colonial, what would be reminiscent, of this, and how could I add something to the character of this house that is right, versus a Victorian in Evanston versus, a Foursquare or whatever. I think really just trying to understand a little bit more about the history of the space can go a long way.
We talk a lot about what luxury is in our firm. We talk a lot about what luxury is in our industry. Luxury, I think, first and foremost is customer service. And that, like, to be able to use a designer, first and foremost, is about luxury. Clients are coming to us for unique and interesting interiors. You can go to Pottery Barn, and I love Pottery Barn. We have Pottery Barn nightstands in our collection. But you can go to Pottery Barn, you can create your own room. That is not what you're coming to our firm for. You're coming to our firm for a unique and inspired, elevated interior, also the classic interior. So that to us feels like luxury these days. And also customer service. When we can have a client walk into their home and shed a tear or two, like that to me is luxury. Because you can save them.
And I was going to say, with that furnishing, mixing in heirloom pieces, antiques. I walk into someone's home, and he has all these, not all these, he had a few heirloom pieces that were really important, and he was very proud of them. Really set his house apart. We're so tired when your house has all red furniture. If you have that piece from your grandmother, you bought that stuff, iron desk or whatever it is. That I think sets your house apart. Looks luxurious. Invested in it.
And you guys just touched on this, but I do think time is like a huge factor in what we do, and the right kind of client really values, your time, your expertise. Same with ours. It's so that they don't have to worry about all the details of a renovation of our project, of choosing the right paint color, the right finish. And so I think that is such a luxury to be able to kind of, take that weight off of someone. That's what we
You guys touched on flooring, styles and color. We talked about paint. Countertops, right? Like I'm starting to see more bold. Like granite has been out for a while, but I'm seeing big bold granites gonna come back in. Some of my fabricators are saying this is what they're doing in a lot of high-end houses. I would just love to pick you guys' brain on because we're constantly getting asked for a client. I want to update my kitchen before it's put on the market. We're generally telling them white paint or a light gray or two-tone. That's what countertop. Obviously, quartz is what's been
That's a tough one. is that you see these bold,
Crazy
I
marbles.
can't do it. I can't do bold.
and no, and they're amazing. But we've seen so much these days in our design world that it's like, ugh.
Where the staff can be like, oh, so.
Is that the innovative of our time, right? So,
It's
Sherry Cabot's innovative.
Straight from 2001.
Yeah, but
What
you're
is
too
that?
young to.
I know it is.
Ubatuba. Does everyone know what Ubatuba
Yes.
is?
It's like emerald.
The
I
emerald
think
black.
to it only though. I think you can own it. It might be pretty.
Oh, it was a
Yeah,
stone.
yeah.
Okay.
And Sherry Cabot.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I mean, that question is super hard. We definitely see way more quartz cabinets or countertops. And
Marble's just hard for people to live with. So I have so many clients that love the look of it, but we do tend to advise them to do quartzite. All of it, that's the thing too, now, like everything is kind of getting to a more similar price point. I mean, you can still find deals on granite, etc., but like
There's
marble.
nothing like
and when we have clients who say like it's been used for like 1,000 years,
Yeah.
as it's all clear and it's still there and it still looks good. You have to just sort of embrace it. It's going to the team. And their clients are like, I can't handle that. Then they shouldn't have. But we try to educate them and say, embrace it.
not everything in your house should be I'm sorry. Luxury is using beautiful fabrics that aren't in your auction all the time. And casual feels like casual is casual.
Yeah.
You know, and so using natural stones, those aren't these natural
You're getting ready to sell. I feel like that's a pretty personal.
It's a tough question.
maybe it is best
Or I think the advice of just like don't update it unless you really feel like it's super necessary to get this sale because
Right.
Yeah.
somebody is gonna change it anyway. And I feel like honestly talking a little bit about like the industry and waste and all of those things, it's like sometimes I get really sad that we're pulling out like a brand new kitchen essentially to put in
a brand
another brand new one. And so, you know, we try to find ways to donate and do those things, but like it can be a little bit wasteful. And so I think trying to help the new buyer see past those things is really important because ultimately they'll be able to do what they want.
How do you feel about the two-tone countertops? Where I'm seeing people do just the main kitchen one color and then the island a different.
Yeah. Just get a lot. I think it's great. You know, we try to do maybe a flamed black absolute on the work islands. You know, that's really takes the beauty. Or Orion, which is a beautiful brand that has a little bit of pale cream running through it. We'll do that on the island, and then the surrounding perimeter would be a beautiful pale marble. Plus,
Yeah, let the island kind of be your home site because if you need to move that out because it looks dated in 5 years because it's the crazy thing marble, then you come to just
or an angry walnut is gorgeous on the island. And then your perimeter can be natural stone. So I think it's timeless. You look at photos from 150 years ago, kitchens, they have a bunch of rock islands, right? And then the surrounding perimeter was Carrera. So it looks good then. It's gonna look good now.
It's always good to have a mix. Not everything should all be flat, same color, material.
I feel like in the early 2000s, late 90s, a lot of granites would go up. And now I'm seeing that a lot with quartzite, right? And then kind of shelves and find the mix. Do you find that to be the trend that's here back again? You know, Galvanos, my mom said, was always retro. Everything's retro. Is that the tile going back up, or are we still?
Taking the
Backsplash.
countertop up as the backsplash, I do think has been in for a while and continues to be, and I think it can be a great choice. One thing that we do to kind of help sometimes on cost and with people who don't want to live with marble countertops is we'll use a natural stone on the backsplash and then actually have the work surface be something else that might be more durable. It can get a little tricky to match and make look beautiful, but it's a really great way to still get natural stone into a home and still have the durability. But yeah, we're doing I do like, I still think it's in style to sort of take the stone up, it's just maybe not as dark or as bold as.
Sometimes we'll take the stone up and frame it with molding or, create more interest to it than just a slab. Like, frame it out, do a pencil molding somewhere in there to break it up. Just create some more.
Is there
Do you use painted glass at all? Like
Painted
on
glass,
the
back
backsplash?
painted glass, like Galatasaray, absolutely, yeah. For backsplashes for
It's
cars.
easy to maintain.
It's beautiful, yeah, or even when you do wall covering, it's behind glass, it's stunning, like you can give the wall covering to the glass and use it as a backsplash, that's super cool. Love it.
another question?
I was just curious if you all donate to Rebuilding Exchange. Are you all familiar with that organization?
No. Rebuilding
It
exchange.
is a very special place. And if anybody has ever not been there, make a trip over there. It's just at Webster and Ashland, not too far from our other
So like, you can go there.
But you
like,
can
Full
donate
floors.
everything,
Trim.
and they will pick up. But obviously, a lot of times it's having a conversation, right? But it's just a very special place. 14,000 square feet.
Rebuilding exchange.
Right. Very special place.
Right next to Red Walder.
Up to
Yeah.
the red.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're,
sure.
we're Red, we go to some new
Oh,
location in it.
Yeah.
We go to Red, sorry.
Yeah.
We go to Red.
You can go there as a consumer and purchase those things that people have donated, whether it be stoves that people have just decided that I want to go full, but it's still like you name it, it's still good, anything. Cabinetry, fixtures, doors, and they pick up.
Yeah.
Very unique. But it's just that way of us all trying to be somewhat sustainable in our environment that is in need of it.
Yeah. We got another question in the back.
Yes, I wanted to know your opinion on everything is natural or quartz-side. What is your opinion on porcelain for countertops?
I don't think it's very popular in the United States yet. It's a little Euro to us, where it's super thin.
Yeah, but they can find it.
Yeah, they can find it. I think if you have a super contemporary client, that's what they want for their kitchen. Like, it's just in the top showroom, and that's theirs are porcelain. It's cool. Just that is not very many.
I think the drawback is, that because porcelain isn't like a through body stone, if it chips, you see, kind of like if a tile chips versus a countertop, you can, like on a natural marble, you could sort of buff out or hone. I do know some designers that use it. I think it does tend to go more contemporary. But I think an application that's better for it is a shower.
Yeah, shower.
I have one client where we used porcelain. They wanted something that was heat resistant, that she could put a hot pan directly onto the countertop, and she didn't want a natural stone. So if you do a quartz, there's resin in it, so it can melt the resin. So that if it's a specific application like that, it's a great option. Or even like a wall detail.
Yeah, like
Or
a fireplace.
Yeah, and a lot of fabricators actually don't work with porcelain, so you have a hard time finding good quality fabricators who can actually have confidence in the wall.
I was surprised at the price point too. I thought it would be significantly less than it is.
Fabrication is usually more.
Yeah.
Even if the material is a little less, it
Along those lines, what about appliances? Have to have a Wolfgang Euro fridge?
I would love to know your.
No,
Great question.
Yeah, you like a shop. What is that gonna be?
So this super fancy client and crazy we're actually doing Whirlpool. Because he's like Whirlpool, I'm great. It's gonna be right through,
I think it's more about the counter depth refrigerator. Make sure that you have counter depth. I'm not sure. That just seems to be the driving force. Like, already. So it depends also what the house. Like I had a client meeting with a client got a cottage in Wisconsin, and we had this conversation like, does it really need so I said, why don't you just snag one and make it fun? Like, take a risk. Like, who cares? It's your cat's cottage. Yeah. So We are now. I don't think it always has to be
Samsung is really,
yeah. Yeah, there's some cool manufacturers out there that people don't code dishwashers.
I like Monogram as like a kind of tiered down from like a Wolf Sub-Zero, and also like they have the longest lead times right now in the industry.
Yes.
It's like a year for a Wolf
Especially panel
Sub-Zero.
ready.
But I mean, I think because of that shortage, we've used in the past year like almost every other brand, and I will say like if they do have a great product in terms of refrigeration that hinges on itself and can be panel ready, they're ahead of the game in my opinion. But everyone's trying to catch up, and I think when it's panel ready, like you don't really care what it is except for like you know if it is the test of time.
Lead hair is the other one that we see a lot of. That's panel ready and
Generic.
lead hair.
Thermador has a.
Say again?
Thermador.
Theirs has more of a swing, so it's just not. It's great. It's just not as easy to design.
What about induction versus gas?
It depends on the space. We actually have in our apartment in the city, we do the same like counter space, and it works great, but I don't think there's anything like gas.
A few clients here and there are interested in it. I don't think it's the range. I think it's for the right type of person, usually who's used it before somewhere and really likes it and wants it
Or
again.
a space. We use our like a countertop. Put your groceries on.
Oh,
because
right,
there's
yeah.
not-
Like I was in one in a condo in New York. They had instead of the 6 or 8 burner range,
Yeah.
they had a 4 burner range in an induction cooktop.
Sure.
And I've seen online, I haven't seen in person yet, induction cooktops under the counter.
Oh, I've seen that
Completely
too.
invisible.
I saw that.
You
That's
app on your phone, with the power, and it says,
Oh,
what
that's
temperature
cool.
would you
Yeah.
like the pot to be?
Yeah. You don't obviously notice that you don't. It's the only thing hot is if you were to take your hand off and touch the hot spot, it's not hot. So it's that.
You'll see that more in like high rises where they don't have gas.
Yeah, sure.
You can either do electric or you can do induction. If there was a trend out there today, do you think it's going to be gone tomorrow?
Oh God.
I would love
Fire.
I'd love to hear it. What trend that's hot right now won't be around.
Sorry, just really quick before we go to that, I just want to tell everyone, because I don't know, I think the merchandise mart, the first floor of the merchandise mart can be so helpful because it's open to anyone and a lot of the appliance vendors are there and they like totally welcome you in and want to show you their product and how it works. And you can even send clients there for like a dinner. There's like you can sign up online at these different places. So I think that's a great resource.
They won't give you a quote. Residential showrooms, pop in there, get some ideas.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to see. So there's one person
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, of course, please.
When it comes to like hardware and fixtures, do you guys have a opinion on like mixing metals? And
Great.
is there a rule of thumb?
Yeah.
Great into it.
Yeah.
Is there a rule of thumb like don't do too many or just
We say, I don't like to see polished brass and polished chrome next to each other. Yeah, that's kind of garish, but the more mixed the better. Already is the one note with polished brass everywhere that instantly hits it, and that's already. That was that trend has been around for a long time. But mixing those is great. Things that have patina and character, texture, absolutely.
I think a good rule of thumb, just to have like sort of, is we tend to like plumbing in polished nickel is pretty classic, and then you could use hardware or lighting to mix other finishes. That is sort of an easy rule just to be like kind of safe. But I think polished nickel designers tend to feel like it goes better with brass than chrome because chrome is colder. So that can be kind of a nice way to do it. We'll often do a kitchen with a polished nickel faucet, but maybe the hardware will be brass or the light will be brass or
Or a bronze.
right.
Love mixed. Yeah, mixed. Nothing worse than even going to a house. I think it feels dated now where everything is everything's polished now. we like Fisher, and we've seen that on the feels like what was
So what's out?
Chuck.
Yeah. I see one more white house with black windows.
White modern farmhouse with black.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, give your house some color.
People some.
Yeah.
I think in general, the idea of like the farmhouse look can work
On a farm.
Like when there's a design style that's trendy that you're like a modern farmhouse in Chicago
Or in the suburbs even.
in the suburbs even where it's not appropriate for the home, or if you have like a historic home and you're like picking a trend that is not cohesive with the architecture of the home. I think there you can mix and do it well. Not everything needs to be the same note from the same time period, but it gets trendy and it will be dated if you're pulling a trend and putting it somewhere where it's not appropriate because it's a trend versus it's appropriate for the space.
Absolutely.
We were trying this out. We live in the Gold Coast. I'm walking around with a dog and living. I think they're mostly condos or buildings where people have really beautiful classic exterior gray stone and then there's an exposed brick wall in the living room. I'm like that you're not on a loft. Who are you like hitting? This is not a loft space.
So it's understandable.
That's not the context, that's not the architecture. So
Design trends though that are already gone. I walked into Meyer the other day in South Haven and they had behind their seasonal display they had like a cardboard cutout of white subway tile with black grout. I'm like, okay, when it's at Meyer, it's done. It's done, yeah. So the ubiquitous white subway tile with the dark grout, like just choose something a little bit more interesting. You know, if you're helping your clients with upgrading their bathrooms or their kitchens, absolutely. Just do something with a little bit more personality. Even if it could be white, but give it some dimension. You know, give it some shade. What about you guys? What have you seen that you think is already
I think what we've already said, like an all one note metal, the gray and white and light blue, like non-dimensional, everything's the same color. No, like it needs some contrast with materials and like wood tones. I feel like the gray woods are out. Gray in general, please be out. Exposed light bulbs, like the industrial look or the modern farmhouse look, or like anything that's again not appropriate for the space. I think, or even another one I was thinking about earlier is like open shelving in a kitchen when it's not appropriate for that kitchen. Like that's a beautiful look. We do it sometimes, but I feel like that's like with the silver hood and then there's like shelving on each side and then cabinetry. It's just like anything you're seeing that's like you're trying really hard to like make a specific design style work in a space that's not suited for that look.
Sure.
Is
I don't know if you guys noticed too. Nothing has a corner these days.
Every
Piece of furniture is rounded or bulbous. I mean, Boston Fending is doing a collection with CB2, so lots of things to show in LA and doing special CB2. Like, if you fall anywhere around CB2 right now, you will not get hurt because everything's rounded edge. Like, I mean, it's hilarious. Like, oh my god. Like, knowing context, like, let's get some cool chairs in here. Let's just figure out the concept.
I mean, like everything was boucle, like that was like the white puppy, like there's all the sort of like, I don't know what the right term is, but like anything that was like super sort of hairy and like I feel like that was all sort of happening for a while.
If your clients are looking to kind of quickly refresh, Anna's mostly mahogany in Highland Park. It's an awesome place. They've got great, period furniture, vintage furniture, used furniture from designers. It's really you can find chairs and tables and cool accent pieces that will just make your home. Anna's mostly mahogany.
It's a resale store.
Fantastic. Also, there's
Go to any auction.
Yeah.
say again.
Go to
Any auction. Yeah.
So I have a question about, so you guys keep saying like bringing in like the date of the building. But if it's like a born 2000s that was like mass manufactured, how do you add character to something like that?
like block construction. You see that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, having greenery is always really good.
Inside the house.
Inside the house.
But I also think that's the kind of quality and moldings and quality more than hardware. There's so many quality stuff. Even more exterior, boring.
Like a better baseboard, or
Yeah.
maybe a better crown molding,
Yeah.
or if there's no crown molding, and it might
Adding
make
it.
sense to have a simple one, even if it's more modern.
Yeah.
Also, lighting would help a lot. Carpeting or rugs, I think rugs can help a lot, make it feel more cozy and homey.
Depends on if you're talking about staging your house or if you're talking about like getting it quick and fresh before you sell. So there's kind of two different avenues.
We tell clients, they replace this in all those that's update those to 4 inch or smaller instead of make your house huge. And you probably don't need as many as the developers or the developer put in. So we're constantly doing those.
And like rows of lighting on the ceiling, like light the space for how it's gonna function, not just, like you don't want a cluttered ceiling, so you don't want like completely random, but we don't need like a can every couple feet, like in rows all the way down.
And if you're helping your phone, please.
Oh, I keep seeing a lot of this trend with like, they'll do like something fun, some sort of funky design to a wall. Then like they'll take the wood and just like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, diagonals or something like that. Not shiplap, but like the.
You're talking about
Yeah, like
billboards.
a paneled wall with
Paneled
like
wall.
an accent color, like I've seen a lot of like diamonds or like the diagonal.
Is there a way to make that a little like softer? If somebody wants to go do that?
I would do panel molding on all of the walls.
Yeah.
Do a
Paint
nice,
it all, so
do
it's
a
not
nice
an
wainscot. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
beautiful, traditional
Yeah.
That's
detail.
something.
That's a trend.
That's a trend.
You guys still seeing the trend of like the two-tone kitchen cabinets where like say the bottom half darker than
So you were just saying earlier that they kind of thought the same thing. Like to get some uniqueness in the kitchen, rather than just being all one tone. We love it.
Especially if it's a really big kitchen.
Yeah.
All one kitchen, everything is where it's well.
And like the tall pieces can be a stained wood, right? So maybe the base cabinets are a color, the upper cabinets are a light color. Just getting some diversity there.
I think the biggest trend in kitchen design is really that like it's not like anything goes, but definitely people are so much more open to being adventurous, and I think it's okay to mix and match a lot more than it used to be. It doesn't feel like it has to be this like box set anymore.
Yeah.
So whether that's two-tone or that's like the painted island, yes, the painted island was a trend, but also like if done beautifully, then it can stand the test of time.
Yeah, I was just trying to think that you guys were asking a lot of questions about how to sell a home, obviously, and we're thinking about it as designers who walk into a house that is recently sold. And I always think that in Thomas too, if we have a great base to work with, we can make it the same. So if the moldings are good, the floors are recently redone, we don't have to tar lines to rip out the bathroom. That's, and we can just add wall covering and paint, maybe paint it, kind of a cabinet. If the lighting is already decent, and there's good boxes everywhere, that we can add that with lighting. So if we don't have to do major infrastructure stuff, that's a huge coup for us, right? We can spend more than on window treatments and furniture and layering the house, and maybe we redo the bathroom or the kitchen, but if the bones are good, we're really happy.
Thanks, guys. Last question. Favorite like HGTV show, or are they out? Terrible, don't watch them, stay away from them. And or like celebrity designer.
I like
HGTV is
international.
definitely for entertainment. It's not real life.
Yeah.
So
I think, does anyone know Magnolia Network? I am a fan of that over HGTV. I think like the programming is a little better. And there is a kitchen designer who I like a lot. Her name's Jean Stover, and she has a show called The Established Home. And those are a little
From Grand Rapids?
Yeah. They're a little more realistic. Jean actually got her start in Chicago and worked for a lot of people designing their kitchens. And I feel like at least they tell a bit of a story. It's not just like a wham bam makeover that's not possible.
Yeah, those budget shows were just kind of give us such a why can't you do my kitchen in
Yeah.
like 3 days?
For $1,500.
$1,500. Well, good. I don't know that shit. Yeah, we work with our clients at the minimum a year. That's the
I will say, being in real estate before HGTV, when I first came out, made my job so much harder.
yeah.
Because they're like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. I'm like, oh, well, that's a header. You have to do structural. You have to do LPL. Like, it's not as simple as this. You can't just put a sledgehammer to the wall. Like, it made the job. I'm sure it made it harder for you guys as well. You guys,
I think it's cool that it exposed people and it got people interested in design.
yeah.
It was good initially early on when we started, but it's a little bit something slow. It's not.
Well, I just want to say thank you from everyone here at Keller Williams.